Internet! Hello! Welcome to a very impromptu episode of Koi Cubed, or Koi Comics, Cats, Curls, Cinema, all the C's. I wanted to talk about the craziness that is today. We not only got a new Birds of Prey trailer, but we also got some really cool quotes about Flash, and that may be happening this year. I keep hearing it's filming this year, but it seems to be filming this year. And also, it seems like we lost Scott Derrickson on Doctor Strange 2. So, I wanted to jump on a very impromptu live, so bear with me while I put all this together. The news about Scott Derrickson just broke minutes ago, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of jump on and see what a live felt like with this all being very impromptu, hence the cat. So, check out today's random show. Now, Scott Derrickson leaving Doctor Strange 2 is, I think, a very big deal, so let's kick off there. Doctor Strange seemed to me to be the linchpin of where the connective tissue was going to lie with the TV and the film stuff. So, to me, it seemed like WandaVision was going to connect very directly into Doctor Strange 2. We'd had some confirmation on there being tying in together, but to me, it seemed like it was going to be this beautiful organic cohesion between the MCU shows and the movies, kicking off with this multiverse of madness. I've had the theory that it's going to be some sort of House of M type thing where the schism of Scarlet Witch's mind helps to really start a moment where the multiverse of madness can take off. So I really thought that WandaVision was going to lead directly into Doctor Strange. And we've also heard from Kevin Feige there's new characters introduced in Doctor Strange. We've heard a lot of things about these two particular properties. So to me, this was maybe not Civil War caliber, but maybe like that kind of giant event between the two things. And I'm really curious what this looks like now with a new director, because it seems like they were putting a lot as this is kind of like the Phase 4 kickoff. So I'm curious as well if Scott Derrickson wanted a more horror type situation, if they wanted it to be a lot scarier, because Kevin Feige's comments about it being, a PG-13, I think you can do a lot with PG-13. I think that Marvel knows what they're doing. I think Kevin Feige overseeing all of this, he's got a very macro view on everything that's going to be shaped. So looking at the whole picture, the whole thing, it's a different view. So I'm wondering if that's some of the creative differences with Scott Derrickson. I know it's going to be basically him producing it now, so executive produced by Scott Derrickson. It's set to film in May. Now that's only 4 months away. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of the fingerprints of Scott Derrickson still on it. I'm really glad he's staying on as a producer, because there's a lot of potential there for him to still do his thing and still be involved in this project. Do you remember how we lost Edgar Wright and Ant-Man, and there was a lot of scenes that still felt like Ant-Man? So I'm really curious if there's a lot of Scott Derrickson still in this property. So I'm curious. This is Spidey Cat, by the way. He is on brand for this podcast because his name is Spidey Cat. So we can talk about Doctor Strange all day. So yeah, the Scott Derrickson thing came out of nowhere for me. That's the last thing I expected. I'm a big fan of the horror elements in the Doctor Strange concept. I'm a big fan of the idea that we're going to get a lot of new characters. I'm also a big fan of the idea that connects the tissue between the MCU TV, which is going to be new to us in this level. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had cohesion. There were moments. We had your Lady Sif and obviously Coulson and all that. But it seems to me you're going to be watching the movies and the TV as basically the same narrative. So I'm curious how that's all going to change with this giant upheaval. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to jump in the live chat. Let me know what you guys think. Do we know why? We don't know why. It is basically a creative difference situation, which could mean 100 things. That this late in the game is interesting to me. But once again, man, I like Scott Derrickson. That's not to be questioned. But I really trust Marvel. So if they see, once again from the macro, what shape they want the universe to go in, and if this didn't work for that shape, that could mean a whole number of things. So the creative differences thing, it's very tricky. The horror, it's not horror conversation that keeps getting bandied back and forth is definitely an interesting public display of creative differences. So I'm really curious what that is there. Igor in the live chat agrees with me. Wanda is supposed to be in the movie, right? Moose Wizard, I don't know. That's the rumor I've heard. I don't know what kind of confirmation we had. To be honest, I don't want to misquote, but I had heard that as well. The super spooky Scotty boy wanted Justin Rogers. Maybe. That could totally be a thing. Did he not want to play in WandaVision? Maybe. I don't know. Continuity is going to be a whole thing, and they're going to be looking at TV and film very differently from now on. And also, it's really interesting because nothing has ever really been done like this before. There's never been this big of an event type film or this big of an event type show that this directly ties in together. Marvel's breaking brand new ground by tying these TV shows into these movies. So it says, Zeno Hour says Wanda was confirmed at SDCC. I thought so. I just didn't want to misremember and have that on the record for me being wrong. I thought it was San Diego. So yes, Wanda was confirmed to be in that as well. Let's see. Justin Rogers asks if we think Magic will be in Doctor Strange 2. It's an option now, I suppose. I mean, I'm very curious. I don't know what they're going to change because it's so soon to shooting. It might just be a director change and keep the same script. I need more magic and less kung fu. I'm curious what the multiverse looks like visually. I'm curious what level of magic comes into play. I'm curious if they're going to augment the magic stuff and temper the horror stuff. I'm curious if they're going to be building out and lean into the elements that WandaVision's tone is, because we've heard that WandaVision's tone is effectively this very satirical take on classic sitcoms meets giant action blockbuster. If you've read Vision, that Tom King's Vision is very dystopian future and very strange and ethereal and very Philip K. Dick, like the Robot's Dream of Electric Sheep meets comic books. So if you incorporate that storyline into House of M, which is what I think the show's going to be, the tonality of that is already going to be so complicated. So incorporating that further into horror film, I'm wondering if that's part of the conversation of what went awry here. 2 episodes in one day. Yeah, man, I didn't sleep last night very much, so I woke up today. Lots of news broke. I wanted to get back in. Brian, I am here for you guys with news, and also it's exciting to share news. Let's see. Spidey Cat is the best. I love him very dearly. He is fantastic. Let's see. Who would I like to see it direct now? Who would I like to see direct Doctor Strange? That is a fantastic question. This news just broke, so I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head. You know, there's always my array of go-to directors that I want to see. With the expanded cast I kept hearing about, I'd love to see Steven Soderbergh handle. I love the way he handles lots and lots of cast. I'd love to see, David Fincher, if it was going to stay really gritty. Actually, no, I don't want David Fincher to play in that wheelhouse. I don't know. I'll think on that. Maybe by the end of this, we will figure out who we want in there. I love the Chris Nolan idea. Chris Nolan's always welcome in any project, man. Chris Nolan doing something of the scope of Doctor Strange is going to be hell yeah. There's a Jeopardy GOAT tournament today. Oh yeah, the Ultimate Jeopardy thing. I thank you for joining me until Ultimate Jeopardy starts. James Wan would probably be great since he directed Insidious. Again, I think that they're going to be doing less horror, so I don't know if they're going to want something like a James Wan in this environment. Plus, DC's doing such an incredible job with their balance of horror and action. Shazam was an Amblin film, man. Shazam had those I'm terrified PG-13 elements while still being PG-13. There were a lot of hyper-violent, hyper-scary scenes. I think DC's doing a really good job with that tone, and I don't necessarily know that I see Doctor Strange as a horror tone if it's going to be incorporating into the rest, because I could see WandaVision and Doctor Strange being their own little corner, and then that horror absolutely works, especially if you're reading Surgeon Supreme right now. There's some horror elements in there that are fantastic. Let's move along here. Mike Flanagan. I don't know Mike Flanagan off the top of my head. Justin Lin as a Fast and the Furious zealot, man. Justin Lin directs the hell out of team movies, directs the hell out of action. Justin Lin is fantastic. Sam Mendes does not seem to be a comic book kind of guy. I think he likes a lot of control over his properties. I think that's some of the reason we had the Bond stuff. And you guys got to think about it. Like, when you're dealing with properties like this scope, this size, it is a team making these movies. It is an entire enterprise. It is a giant thing. So I don't know about some of the more auteur directors necessarily. Yeah, I agree. Shazam was surprisingly scary. All right. Mike Flanagan's a horror guy. I will look into him, absolutely. All right, so that is the news out of Doctor Strange. We did lose Scott Derrickson. As far as we know now, creative differences. As far as we know now, no director's been attached. They are currently looking for a new director. If you're just joining the chat, we're up to 100 folks, so there's some new people in here. Basically, they're without a director, but Scott Derrickson is staying on as an executive producer, and my thought was that this is a giant connecting piece between a lot of content at Marvel. So this is a very important piece of Phase 4. So I'm really curious what they do. And I also really enjoyed the Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange we got in Infinity War and Endgame. I really love the evolution of the character. I loved at the end of Thor Ragnarok the use of the gloves. I think there's a lot of potential to grow Benedict Cumberbatch's character, so I'm curious what director they bring on and what vision the director they bring on has for the character, because I think Doctor Strange is a fascinating character. So sequels are always going to be a good test, because the first movie has to tell the whole origin. The first movie has to establish the world. The first movie has to establish a tone. So I was excited to see Scott's tone continue on, but I arguably am even more excited to see what they do with a Phase 4 take, because we've now gotten to live in the Doctor Strange world a bit. We've gotten to see who we think Doctor Strange is, and I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch has gotten more settled into the character. So I think it's going to be a different tone than Scott might have done, and I think it's also going to be tying directly into WandaVision in a very cohesive way. So I'm very intrigued. I see John Krasinski in the live chat as a director. Man, I loved A Quiet Place. I think the world he built, the tone of that film, and the use of audio as a suspense element. The use of that movie was about audio as much as video, and I loved that. The AV is so important to film, and I love they leaned into that so hard. So I love that. I'm also seeing a lot of Guillermo del Toro in here. He is a fantastic choice for any creature design, any of that stuff. So I full support there. I don't know if he'd want to go into franchise type stuff, because I know he likes to build his worlds. And after Hellboy, I'm not sure how he feels about comic book properties, but I would fully support that. Maybe. So, all right, we also today, we'll get back as news develops to the Doctor Strange stuff, but today we also got some very interesting quotes about The Flash. Now, Flash has been a movie that has been delayed quite a number of times, and also has had Ezra Miller attached through quite a number of directors, so I'm really curious how, I'm a big fan of both It 1 and 2. It Chapter 1 and 2 I thought were both, man, I don't understand why people hated the second one so much. But I really like them both. So I'm really curious how we see and shape a world that is less horror elements. Because to me, Flash is, he's the sovereign Boy Scout that isn't Superman. He's the ultimate optimist, right? So I really wanted a Flash movie that felt like the show, to be honest. I think Grant Gustin is a fantastic Flash. And I really am curious how they shape a show in the Justice League universe, but adjust the tonality, because now that we've had Wonder Woman, now that we've had Shazam, now that we've had Aquaman, the DC universe looks very different than the last time we saw Flash. Aquaman was this incredible Burning Man trip of a movie. It was big, it was bold, it had an octopus playing drums. I know that was only 3 seconds, but it really affected the movie for me, and I loved it. And it also, they leaned in hard. Like, Ocean Master was all the way Ocean Master. Jason Momoa was able to play his Aquaman, and it was a bold, bright, crazy movie. So, with that setting the billion-dollar precedent, with Wonder Woman being a genre-redefining film, with all the Shazam goodness, I didn't think Shazam could exist, much less that good. I'm really curious what Flash looks like independently of the Justice League era, and I think they're going to go that direction. But we got quotes recently saying that Andy Muschietti, his Flash movie, will in fact involve Flashpoint. Now, Flashpoint is so important to the character, but for me, that's going to be a movie 3 or 5. That's going to be a down-the-line move. I think you really need to be invested in the character, but he said specifically it's a different version of Flashpoint than you're expecting. So, maybe, spitballing, what if the movie opens with Flashpoint and they're able to retroactively make whatever universe they want out of Ezra Miller's Flash? What if they actually dive into an entirely new version of Flash by using the same actor that a lot of people loved, by using the same world that a lot of people love, but soft rebooting in universe? Like, you could soft reboot with Flashpoint. It's an option. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but we've been hearing about Flashpoint for a long time. It's also had a number of scripts. It's also had a number of directors. It's really an interesting way to go about a first movie, but I guess it would tie up some continuity by ending some continuity. I personally would love to see a Captain Cold. I'd love to see the Rogues Gallery starting to form. Man, I love me some Gorilla Grodd. So I would personally love to see a Barry Allen discovering the optimism, that beautiful CSI heart of that the show gets so right. So I think there's a lot of chance for that, because Andy Muschietti really understands character. He really understands what makes these characters tick and why we love them. So we'll see. I'm really excited. Let me jump in the live chat because it is going crazy. You guys are saying Jordan Peele. Oh, great choice, man. Jordan Peele would be fantastic. Not buying the Flash rumors. I am going to be optimistic forever because I love the character of Flash, and I'm hoping Spidey just lied down. I love the character, so I'm hoping that happens. I agree. Chapter 2 was not quite as tight as the first, but they're both solid, and I'm not a horror movie guy, so getting me to really enjoy horror movies is a rarity, so I dug it. Ocean Master's Mask was fantastic. Moose Wizard, how can people support my content? Thank you. Yeah, I have a Patreon set up, and also this is Streamlabs, so I think you can do something with Streamlabs here after the show, because I did a random live. I was just sitting on the couch and saw the news, so I went live. I'll be throwing in the description my Streamlabs and my Patreon and all that fun stuff, and thank you for even wanting to. That does mean the world. Thank you. You can support me that way, and it means a lot. Let's see. We got Tawny better be in Shazam 2. I think he will. Let's see. I wanted to see the Rogues be the Flash film's first villains. Really want to see Captain Cold, Heatwave, and Lisa Snart. Totally agree, man. Captain Cold, I think could be really cool. There's hopes. We got to be close to 4,000 hours by now. Brian, I'm at a little over 2,000 hours as of my last video. So we are halfway with 3 videos. I feel pretty good about that, to be honest. So we should probably, by the end of this week or early next week, be at that 4,000 hour mark, which is amazing because that is a lot of hours. Snyder just tweeted this out, which is especially interesting to me anyway, about Scott Derrickson's exit in Doctor Strange 2, is that while he stays, he'll remain on as an EP. The writing credit situation goes unaddressed. Does that mean Jade Haley Bartlett is receiving sole credit? I don't know. The exec producer thing is really interesting because an exec producer is very involved a lot of the time. I don't know every time, but a lot of the time in the film. So I do think the tone of Scott Derrickson's film is going to be more similar than what happened, say, with Ant-Man. So I'm really curious as this develops. This just happened. No, he didn't get blocked. I think he just deleted something. I didn't block Edward. He's great. Let's see. A different version of Flashpoint could mean so many things. I wish that hashtag show asked a follow-up question. Xeno Hour, what's tricky about shows like that is sometimes you can't ask a follow-up question. And I guarantee every publicist was like, don't say anything. So the fact that we got that quote at all, it is very vague, but it is exciting enough that we're talking about it right here, which is something, right? So the word Flashpoint is going to elicit a response, which is very clever. And here we are. And I do wonder what Flashpoint means in this context, but we won't know for some time. Let's see. You need a mod so someone can drop Patreon and Streamlabs links. Thank you. I will at some point. This is all coming together. It's only been a week since the Collider announcement. The fact that we've developed this much is already rad. 136 of you on a random. I was sitting on my couch live chat is dope. We'll build to mods, build to microphones, build everything. This is all less than a week old. How am I doing today? Doing good, man. About to go for a run. Having a good day. Reading some comics. About to go for a run. Got some work done earlier. Here we go. Let's see. We're halfway there. Ooh, there's another chair. Let's see. Dude, you went to the comic store and bought your first Tom King's Batman? Hell yeah. Thank you for telling me that. That makes me really happy. All right, a couple more questions, and we're going to go to the last bit of news. I don't think they'll do a direct adaptation of Flashpoint. Can't see WB ever having a live-action homicidal Wonder Woman on the big screen, Xeno Hour. I agree. I don't think an adaptation of Flashpoint is likely in any scenario of these worlds. I don't think that is coming, but I do think Flashpoint, as a concept, is a really good use of the power and responsibility of being a superhero, the idea that your actions have ramifications, the idea that everything you do affects everything, the butterfly effect, for lack of a better term. I think there's a lot of opportunity to make continuity better and to fix canon. So I think Flashpoint is going to be, no matter what, very important, but I don't think it'll be our Flashpoint, the comic Flashpoint. I think it'll be a lot like Civil War. Like, Civil War had the bones of Civil War, like the core of Civil War, but it wasn't Civil War from the comics, and I think Flashpoint can do a lot of the same thing. And yeah, we will absolutely see. Thank you, everyone that's volunteering to mod. I don't even know how to set that up yet, but I do appreciate it. Once that moves along, we will absolutely do that. Let's see. Though I don't know if that WandaVision director can, timing-wise. I don't know how that's going to work, because I think they're still filming that. Yeah, we will absolutely see. All right, back to the last story, and then I'll go back to the live chat. The last bit of the news today is we got a Birds of Prey trailer that dropped this morning, a brand new Birds of Prey trailer. Now, the Birds of Prey trailer, the first one I enjoyed, absolutely, but this one, to me, was the trailer I've been wanting to see. This one, to me, was a live-action cartoon. This one, to me, now, Harley Quinn, you have to remember, is one of those rare characters that started on an animated series and then got brought into the comics. This Birds of Prey trailer felt like a live-action cartoon. I love how much fun Margot is having with this character. I love how dynamic this team looks. I love that we got to look at Black Mask, so every single person that was worried for whatever reason that Black Mask wouldn't show up with the mask can be like, no, look, there's the mask. I'm glad they waited for the last trailer to give me the Black Mask. I also love the tone of the film. The joke at the end with the Bruce, I named him after that handsome billionaire, is so on point. Harley Quinn, the roller skates, the obviously just having the hyenas at all. There's so many moments that. Do you remember in the first trailer when she hands her the bomb and she throws it out the window? That to me was like, oh, that's exactly what I want the movie to be. This entire trailer was those moments, and that made me so happy. This trailer, I'm all in. I'm very excited for February. I think it's going to be another great example of DC enjoying their little pockets within a universe. I personally have been really enjoying DC not stressing about a shared universe. I know a lot of people want, and they deserve the shared universe, but I really think DC is doing a really clever move and letting it breathe, building strengths in different corners. And this looks like something totally different than Shazam, totally different than Aquaman, totally different from anything we've seen before. And it looks like a live action cartoon, which is Harley frickin' Quinn. I also love that they leaned right into the Joker breakup. I love that it is leaning in to this team of badass girls, and we're getting it in this crazy montage. I think that all the trailers have also been accurate to the tone of the film, because if you think back to the first one, if you think back to the very beginning, all that footage we saw looked like this insane cacophony of color, and now we're starting to see the story mixed together with the insanity, and that's Harley Quinn if I've ever thought of a Harley Quinn way to build a world. So I personally couldn't be more excited. I think they're doing a damn good job. I do think we're getting a lot more action because it's getting closer to the film. If you guys remember, there was additional photography on the film with, I think, the second unit directors of the John Wick films, or maybe even the guys themselves, Chad Stahelski, I think that's his name. So we're seeing a lot more action, and I think additional photography allows for that. I think when you have an extra, however many weeks to shoot more and reshape and cultivate a tone, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think you make a movie in tears, and I think we're seeing a lot of really, really cool scope of action and world building, and I love this Gotham, and I really think we're gonna have a really good time with this film. I also think that this gives us a really good opportunity to have things in the Gotham universe that isn't just Bat based. I think that the Birds of Prey is a great move, and I'm really curious where we go from here, because clearly Margot loves playing Harley, and clearly we're all here for it, and that trailer was, yeah, that was everything. I'm all in. All right, live chat, how we doing? Also, 150 of you, hello, incredible. Hello. Think about 150 people sitting in a room. That's so crazy to think about. You guys are just all here talking comics. All right, let's see. Hope Doctor Strange 2 will be like a PG-13 version of It Chapter 2. We're mixing a bunch of plot lines here. The director of Flash did It, but I can see some of the continuity there with the subtle horror. Let's see. If you have questions, just ask Koi. A number of us know how to do things. Please ask questions. That trailer raised excitement for it tenfold. I am so glad that trailer worked for you, Moose Ward. It did for me as well. Rednax42, Drew Goddard. That is a great idea, man. I love Drew Goddard. He's an incredible director, diehard comic person, helped get Daredevil made, and I'm a huge Netflix Daredevil guy, and like he's a Joss Whedon guy, so his tone is solid, and he likes horror. Cabin in the Woods is such a great slept-on film. Maybe not slept-on, but more people need to see Cabin in the Woods. Drew Goddard's a great call. Colors are awesome. Looks like a beautiful film on top of breath of fresh air in the genre. Totally agree. Kelly Reichardt is one of America's greatest living filmmakers. Therefore, she should direct a colorful costume men and women punching each other. I don't know this director's work, but I am all for it. If you vouch, I will look them up. Birds of Prey trailer 2 sold it for me. The effing hyena, yeah, I'm really excited. This looks fun. The hyena laughing was great. Totally agree. The koi pond. That's right. We've got hashtag koi pond going in the chat. Let's see. I don't know about how I feel about Cassandra Cain either. That so far isn't like the speaking, like that's a huge thing for the character for me. So I'm gonna give it a chance though, man. Everything else works so well. I'm absolutely gonna give this take a chance. I'll decide after I see the movie personally. Very curious. Let's see. Will we finally see a cheetah costume in the Super Bowl commercial? I think we could. I think there's absolutely an opportunity for that. I think that's a smart move because the movie got pushed and people want to build that excitement. I think the last trailer was great, but I think we want the cheetah suit, even for just a flash. I don't want to see too much, but I do think a flash. Yeah, turn on the notifications, man. I go live whenever. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? I wanted to talk about this ASAP. I happen to be home. I might go live at midnight like I did last night. Who knows? All right, let's see. The Ace Chemical Explosion seems awesome and a nod to 89. It does remind me of Batman 89. Absolutely. Do you think this could count as an Elseworlds, like Krypton was the first ever live-action Elseworlds? I do, actually. That's been one of my theories, is I think that Joker really set a great precedent that not everything has to be attached, and I think Elseworlds is a great way, especially in canon, to build all this out. And if you have a Flashpoint movie, you can kind of play with continuity even with Elseworlds, so I think it's a really, really good time. Let's see, what else we got? Do I think Joker or Batman will show up in Birds of Prey? I hope not. I personally want the Birds to have their own time. I don't really want them to mess with continuity by including anything else. I want this removed. Personally, I enjoyed Batman showing up in Suicide Squad, but I don't want every movie to rely on Batman. I think these characters are strong enough. Let's see. What's not that serious? Someone's saying relax. I don't know what we're relaxing about, but I agree. Actually, I don't relax ever. Do what you want. Feel how you feel. What time is it in LA? It is 5 o'clock. Fancast Moon Knight and She-Hulk. My Moon Knight is Shia LaBeouf. I think he's got the inherent the physicality. I think he also has like the madness behind his eyes. I think he's an incredible actor. I think he has gone through a lot, and I want him to get a franchise going. He had two of my favorite movies this year. I also think he can play that rapscallion. There's a darkness to Moon Knight that I think is really important to the character. I want Shia. And then She-Hulk, I have wanted Emily Blunt to play a superhero from the jump, from Scarlett Johansson taking Black Widow instead of Emily Blunt. I think she has the most important thing for me to She-Hulk is the poise and diction. She's a lawyer, right? Like, you're not gonna the CGI for Hulk is its own thing. Bruce Banner had to be incredibly important to the character of Hulk. You need your day-to-day Banner. You need your Mark Ruffalo to make the Hulk matter. So I think Emily Blunt as a lawyer is absolutely... You get Amy Sherman-Palladino to write it. You get Aaron Sorkin-esque dialogue. You get some of that. Also, Rachel Brosnahan from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is my second pick. But I want the lawyer side to be really important. And then when she's Hulk, you're invested in the character. So one of those two for me. Also, Emily Blunt for Sue Storm is everyone's fan cast and mine as well. I totally agree. All right. This Gotham looks incredible. Totally agree. Hope my gym... Let's see. I saw Gym Talk, and I had to go back to it because that is one of the C's in this show. Hope my gym has good Wi-Fi so I can do some curls during Koi Cube, Koi Pond, Koi Pool. That's right. This show is Koi Cube because it is comics, cinema, and curls, and also cats and all sorts of other things. But Koi Cubed, thank you. Excellent work. Let's see. King Ethan, Koi will be supporting you, bro. Much obliged. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot that hand signal turned into an evil thing. I'm sorry. I just meant to say okay. Do not misinterpret that. I was saying okay. Let's see. Are we on Letterboxd yet, Koi? No, not yet. I want to. I need to. That is absolutely a thing. I will work on that. Apologies. I have not gotten on Letterboxd yet. It has been quite the week. Emily as She-Hulk, you dig it. Laverne Cox, I do not know her. Man, you guys have some ones today I do not know in the live chat, and I feel bad. I will look into a lot of these names after this chat. How do I want them to introduce Deadpool into the MCU? Dream scenario? Dream scenario, Deadpool kills the Fox universe, man. Dream scenario, Chris Evans comes back as Human Torch, and Michael B. Jordan comes back as Human Torch. And basically they end the Fox continuity by launching Deadpool continuity, kind of like how Endgame closed out Phase 1 through 3 while setting up the beautiful Phase 4 to come. I think you can have a post-credit scene of New Mutants where he kind of just pops up with his time turner effectively and can play with continuity. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I also think that Deadpool being able to break the fourth wall is actually a gift that he's coming in now with this Fox madness because you can do a whole lot with it. I also think Deadpool is a character that can be rated R in his solo films and PG-13 in team films, and I think it's completely fine to do both. And let's see, I also had something set up for you guys, if I can find it. Once again, did not plan to go live, but while we're here, my pull list for this week is my top pulls for the week of January 8th, yesterday's comics. If you haven't been to the comic store yet, if you go this week, if you go from this moment on, the ones on the shelves I am most excited for are Batman 86, James Tynion, I think that's how you say his name, taking over Batman. I love Tom King's run, but I've really enjoyed this guy's other work, so I'm really curious what he does in the main Bat book. Daphne Byrne, #1, is the new book from DC Black Label, the Hill House line, the horror line that Joe Hill is running that I am ever so excited to see. Check out. This is the newest book in that imprint, and I've loved every single book at a DC Black Label, so Daphne Byrne already has my interest just because of the imprint it's on. I'm all in. Deadpool #2, we got Kelly Thompson and Chris Pacello's second issue. Kelly Thompson, always hilarious. Chris Pacello, always kinetic, beautiful energy, amazing panel work, amazing tone, very iconic. Kelly Thompson also gave me Landshark. Her sense of humor, West Coast Avengers, brilliant. With Deadpool, just makes so much sense. Cannot wait for issue 2. Immortal Hulk #29 from Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. Immortal Hulk has been so consistent. This is the 29th issue. I have loved damn near all of them. It is such an incredible book. And the last issue, 28, really got me. There was a lot of commentary on capitalism and the free market structure and a lot of very important real world stuff related through Minotaurs and Hulks, and that is an incredible writing task to make that translate. It is brilliant stuff. Big fan of that book. Check out Immortal Hulk. We got Marvel's X #1. Alex Ross, his paintings are just staggering, and I love Marvel so much. So to see this pop back up, I don't know anything about the book because I don't want to know. I didn't even read the description and previews because I want to just get in. So Marvel's X #1, sight unseen for me. Strange Skies over East Berlin #4. I've been talking about this book for a few weeks now. It is an indie, and it has been so weird, so tone heavy, so ominous, so powerful, and I love the writing and the art. They blend together beautifully. It feels like you're watching a classic noir. You can taste the cigarettes in this book. Then we've got X-Force #5. X-Force #4, much like X-Men #4, is one of my favorite X-Men of the last decade. X-Force is brutal. It is intense. It is supposed to be the team of X-Men doing the things that regular team of X-Men can't, and this X-Force book knows that. They're freaking skinning Domino alive to make covert agents to break into Krakoa. Like, this book is depraved. At one point, Wolverine is popping his claws as like a coping mechanism, and I never would have thought of that, but that totally makes sense. What a beautiful image. X-Force has been very solid, very good book. And then Venom #22 from Donny Cates and Mark Bagley. Mark Bagley is one of my definitive Spider-Man artists of all time. His Venom is also, next to, the man himself, Todd McFarlane, one of my most definitive. So I would say this book is a must-buy for that alone. And then Donny Cates, I love his Venom. This book's been great, and now they're on Venom Island, so issue 21 was the beginning of a new arc. You're only one issue behind if you pick up 22, if you want to go back to there. All right, more live chat, questions. Also, I only lost like 10 of you when I started talking comics, which means you guys aren't all here just for movie news, and that means we're doing something right because comics are so important too, and that makes me so happy. So thank you for sticking around for comic book stuff, because without them, we don't get these movies. All right, scrolling back up. Do you think it's possible for the MCU to build into a Hoxpox event like they did with Infinity War and Endgame? I do eventually. I personally think Hoxpox comes way later, like way later. For me, Krakoa is a new last-ditch effort after all the things went wrong in the regular world. So if we just start there, it doesn't feel as impactful for me. They can do something akin to it, but I'd rather that Hoxpox land later. That's like, for me, an Endgame, like you said. So I think 3 phases, not just 3 movies. That's down the line. Sorry, it got dark and I wasn't lit for a live stream because, once again, Doctor Strange 2 just wanted to talk about the glory. All right. No. Koi Pond t-shirts, you'll do the art. Dude, thank you, Chris West. Let me see some dope art. I do want to make a few shirts. I got some shirt ideas. So I'm probably going to, get some artists to help me do that. And we'll do, I don't know, like TeePublic or whichever one are best. Quality shirts matter. Like, you don't want to feel weighed down, or like when they get wet, you feel gross. We're going to find quality shirts. And I got like 5 ideas. And Koi Pond's one of them. Have I visited Galaxy's Edge yet? I have not. I've not been to Disneyland since it changed years ago. So I've not been there, and I would love to check it out, but I ain't got that Disneyland money yet. Let's see. What do I think of Blake Lively playing She-Hulk? I think Blake Lively is extremely underappreciated as an actress. She is a powerhouse, man. Have you guys seen The Town? I know that girl, man. Like, I've known so many of that girl that she plays in The Town, and that's so different from Sisterhood. That's so different from so many of her other properties. She's also got this great indie coming out, I think this month, that looks incredible. This She Lost Her Whole Family revenge movie that looks so good. What are my thoughts on the current situation of superhero exploits throughout the whole of American popular culture? Infantilizing or just infantilizing? I think you're in the wrong chat, man. I don't think it's infantilizing at all. I think superheroes' merits are the fact that we can tell important stories under the guise of being simple, but if you don't see the deeper metaphor, you're watching them wrong. I think that superheroes are the Trojan horse into important culture. I think you can tell very important stories, the likes of indie films or any of these other films, but instead of just being walk and talks or just being sit in room talks, you can also have action. I think that superhero films are a great opportunity to combine the brilliance of American filmmaking with more subtle foreign film sensibility. I think we've done an incredible job in the last 11 years evolving superhero films into something that isn't just a comic book adaptation. It's comic books themselves are art meeting literature. Like, comic books themselves tell so many important messages and get so many people to find their moral compass. They help people realize what right and wrong really is while also giving them fun. It's like being lectured but enjoying it. I personally think there's no infantilization of superhero culture, and I think you're either trolling or wrong. All right. End that rant. Let's see. Miles Morales, the end #1. I have not read yet. I have not read this week's books. That was my poll. I need to go to the comic store tomorrow. Those are just the ones that I am most excited for. I talked Doctor Strange #2 at the beginning. Basically, I was saying the exec producer thing is really interesting and how much WandaVision ties it all together. Check out the beginning of the show. I don't want to just repeat it for the people that have been in the live, but Doctor Strange 2 is what I opened the show with, and I do think it's really interesting, and we'll be updating as we go along. Let's see. Mark Bagley, hands down favorite artist. Absolutely, man. He's up there. Spidey artist, you said. He's up there. Absolutely. Coy, is the movie making Harley an anti-heroine? I've been confused for a while. I think Harley in the comics has become more and more of an anti-heroine. I think for a while Harley has become I like her as a good girl, bad girl. She basically has her own moral compass. She basically has her own sense of right and wrong, so why wouldn't she be an anti-hero in a way, you know? So I think if you're going to have a lead character, you need to be able to see why their decisions are being made, and I think the chaos of Harley allows for those decisions to be made very well, because you're in her world, so you're listening to her narrative. So I think an anti-hero in this case totally works for the character. It is different than some of the comics, but she's had so much canon. She's had so many versions of herself that really that works for me. Batsuit revealed to be soon. What suit would you like to see? I'd love a mix between Neil Adams and Greg Capullo. Dude, that's almost exactly what I was saying 2 days ago. Yes, I think it's going to be a leaner Pattinson. That's part of the curls part of the show. I think the build of Robert Pattinson is part of why he's cast for this Batman. I think Matt Reeves wants to tell a detective story, and with that, a Neil Adams, maybe blue accented, maybe that more lean Batman, which ties into that different world. That is exactly what I think, and I also think this is the first casting choice where the physicality, not the first since Batfleck, which I immediately thought Frank Miller, it's indicative of what the character is. And I love that. When you can cast for physicality, like this Pattinson thing, it's so fascinating. And I do think we'll get the suit in the next 4 weeks. I think it's going to be soon. Actually, sooner than I would have expected. And Greg Capullo's Batsuit is one of my favorites of all time. Loving Fractions, Jimmy Olsen's so rich and funny. Dude, so you do like comics and stuff. Yeah, dude, Jimmy Olsen's is fantastic. I am a big fan of that book. It is always weird, always fun, always great. What's my favorite film set in Boston or New England? That is a tricky question because that is my home. That is my love. I think The Town, actually. I think the one I just referenced. The Departed and The Town are both really close. Manchester by the Sea is incredible. Dude, there's so many. Those just pop in my head. But The Town is like this crime epic that did not get enough credit. Jeremy Renner's performance in that, Ben Affleck directing, and his performance, brilliant. Blake Lively is a powerhouse in it. The Town is very good, and it's very authentic to me, what I think of Boston, what I feel when I go to Boston. Let's see. Love your chat. Love your passion about comics. It does my 50-year-old heart good to watch your show. Best of luck. You got my support. Thank you, Sam Fett. That means the world. Thank you. #WrongChat is a fantastic hashtag, and we can use that in the future. Keep an eye on that hashtag. Let's see. We're going to go scroll up. We can also double back in the news in just a minute because we got 181 people in here. Logan is a great example of that. Logan tells an important story about aging, about mortality, about inclusivity, about being a better... Logan does all of that while being a Western that happens to have a character that was also invented in comics. And also some of the Wolverine comics are about, honor and people that think that comics are one thing and... No. I don't understand why people try to troll any YouTube chats. I agree. Hi, Koi, non-comic related question. When you go to the gym, are you going for powerlifting or bodybuilding? Great question, and thank you for incorporating the curls part of the show. I am an LA dude, and I am shamelessly going for glamour muscles, bro. I just want to look like a superhero. That's for me. When I look at a comic, I'm like, that's the goal. So I'm not really trying to get like a bodybuilding size. I'm fairly big as a dude, but I don't want to look like I'd rather look like Tom Hardy in Warrior than Tom Hardy in Bane. I'd rather have a bigness but also still be defined. Zac Efron in Baywatch, like that superhero aesthetic. So I'm going for neither effectively. I'm going for glamour. I like to lift heavy. I like to lift strong, but I really like to feel confident and good, and it's good for camera, and it's good for all the most shameless reasons, man. I'm not even gonna pretend. It's to look good. So I go for like most fighters don't have pecs because you don't have, but like their pecs aren't as defined as like weightlifters because you don't use that muscle when you're actually using them. I love chest day. I love the bench. Incline bench all day. Pec flies. That's my shit. Okay, more Koi rants. Thank you. Koi rants will be an unnecessary but important part of this show. Simultaneously unnecessary and important. I like Godzilla casually. Do I believe the MCU will now switch its focus on the multiverse, meaning after the induction of Thanos, it was very cosmic. Now with that phase done, how do you believe they'll use the multiverse? I think they'll use the multiverse to keep continuity fun and weird and dynamic. I think they'll use that to bring in the Fox elements. I think the multiverse is going to be essential for the universe going forward, and I think the multiverse is going to tie into the TV shows a lot. I think it's going to tie into which characters we get a lot. I do agree that cosmic was phase 3, and I think multiverse is going to be the foundation for phase 4, maybe even phase 5, but I do think it's going to be wrapping up beautifully with some Fantastic Four. All right, just finished reading V for Vendetta. Holy shit, it is amazing. If no one's ever checked it out, 1000% recommended. Yes, V for Vendetta, another one of the great comics. People in the live chat recommending Saga. Always Saga. Yes, thank you very much. Pedro Pascal from Moon Knight. I could totally hear the Mando voice coming out of that white suit. Absolutely. Would not man Pedro Pascal any day of the week. All about it. Also, Oscar Isaac needs his chance to be a franchise superhero. Oscar Isaac, speaking of Star Wars, would be an incredible choice as well. Hey, Koi, thoughts on decompressed storytelling and writing for trades versus the older shooter style of telling complete stories per issue? I think it depends. That's a great question. I love that question. We are approaching... Okay, we're at 40 minutes. I think that the shooter style is good for certain comics. I think Tom Taylor really did a great job with Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man balancing the two. Some of the issues were one-off, some were arc. I enjoy picking up a 6-issue run, and I enjoy having trade options. I think both work. Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil is overarching, but I feel like you could pick it up. It'd make a lot of sense. So this doesn't answer your question, but I think both have merits. I think both depend on the character. I think filler issues can sometimes be stronger than the arcs in between them. Sometimes a writer or artist jumps on in the middle and you're like, why isn't this the book? I can't think of an example right now, but there are merits to both, and I think that comic books are stronger for having the versatility in the art form to do both. That is a fantastic question that I don't have a definitive answer for, but thank you. That is... I hadn't thought about that in quite some time. Let's see. Excited for Batman? Hell yeah. I hope we get Harvey Bullock in the Batman. I think we will, and I think the casting is going to be incredible because this is one of the best casts I've ever seen assembled. I would like Batman to follow in the veins of Joker, have it in the DCEU. I think if you guys haven't watched John Campion's video about this, he had a thing about how Batman might follow in the Joker footsteps, and I think that this Batman is going to be more mature. It is going to be more adult. This Batman, I think, will be a detective story, and I think this Batman will not be DCEU necessarily, and I personally am okay with that. I'm personally excited for that. I haven't watched all the Campia thing. I just saw the headline and was like, that's brilliant. So I don't know what he had to say about it, but check that out. And I'm very curious about where that Batman lands. Architecture, foam panels, and columns. Of course, thanks, Koi. You weren't trolling. Amazing. Okay, thank you. I didn't know if that was a mistype or an actual question. Thank you, Architectural. Best DC comics running right now. Well, the ones I pulled earlier, anything from DC Black Label I've loved. I'd say the Hill House stuff are, if you're a horror comic person, some of the best horror comics I've read in a long time, but Black Label, all of it's great. Check out my Instagram. I do a weekly pull list of all my favorite comics every single week. So check out anything I got over there. It's too long to mention right now, but all my favorite DC books are listed alongside Marvel, Image, etc. Check out my Instagram. It's my name. Let's see. Michelle Gondry for Doctor Strange 2. Dude, I think maybe even too strange. I love that question. If you guys don't know, Michelle Gondry did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, one of my favorite films, and that abstract insane stream of consciousness could be great, but also I'd love to see a Terrence Malick Doctor Strange. Why not? Give me the weird. Also, I want to see a Terrence Malick Superman so bad. I want to see a existential crisis about what it's like to be human while being an alien, while trying to understand the planet, while being Terrence Malick-y. Whew. All right. We'll do another 10 minutes, if that's okay with you. When Flashpoint is done, do you think the whole Affleck-Pattinson Batman situation, along with other loose ends, will make sense? I don't know. Honestly, I'd love to find out Henry Cavill's situation. I'd love to have Henry Cavill back. I would love to see where that lands. I personally don't know if it'll ever fully make sense. I don't know if it can, but I dream along with you. Maybe? It's a great question. I just don't know if we can have an answer this early in the game. Batman being his own thing would be the best. I think so, personally. Big fan from Australia. Sorry to hear about Heroes, but I know you've got this covered. The names must be, by the way. Have you ever visited Australia? I have. The name's a must. Oh, thank you. Australia, I filmed over there. I did a movie over there. So I was there for like 5 weeks. I stayed in Sydney, Newtown, went to Maria Island, did Tasmania. I was there for quite a while. I love Australia. I'm a huge fan. Love the food. Love the people. They're impossibly nice. The Thai food over there is incredible. The meat pies, next level. Guinness meat pies in Cape Town. Oh, no, that's Africa. I also went to Africa that same year. The Guinness meat pies in Sydney were so freaking good. Any hopes for the Morbius trailer? I think we're going to get it this weekend. I think Morbius, like, not tomorrow, but the following. I think it's going to be really soon. What do you do as far as cardio? I like the street runs. I like the elliptical. I like HIIT training. I like suicides. I like distance running once you're in the groove of it. The first mile sucks, everybody. First half mile you run is awful. The first mile you run usually is brutal. But once you find a rhythm, once your body adjusts to it, it could take a month, it could take a year. There is something incredibly powerful about being mobile on your own two legs, and the way your breath like adjusts, and you get into this rhythm, this flow state. I think runner's high is so many things, but part of it's the breath and the incredible just freedom. Running is really special to me, and I don't do it nearly enough. Am I still in the market for stunt work? I left the stunt game because I kept getting hurt, because that is the job of the stunt man, and that's why I think they need more respect. If you do it right, you get hurt less. If you do it wrong, you get hurt more. I must have been doing it wrong. I loved stunt work, but it broke me a lot. When Yaya had a bro crush on Koi's gains during comic book shopping. Dude, me and Yaya had some great talks about gains, man. Me and Yaya had some times. Yaya's good people, dude. If you haven't checked out my episode of Comic Book Shopping with Yaya Abdul Mateen II, he is a fantastic dude, a brilliant Dr. Manhattan, and frankly, one of my favorite people I've ever gotten the chance to interview and talk to. Couldn't speak higher of Yaya, and also we got to train together. Big fan. Let's see. Do I think that Doctor Strange 2 will feel like Age of Ultron, too many things unfocused? I'm not worried about those things anymore. I think Phase 2 was learning, and I think Phase 3 they proved they can like readjust. I really am not worried, even with this news. Personally, could be rose-colored glasses, but I'm all about it. I'm not worried. What about doing interviews with some people on my channel? If once I find a new network, like once I find a place that isn't my couch, I would absolutely love that. I've tried to get some people on before. I've tried to push that because I think it is really important. As soon as it's an opportunity, I am all for it. That is definitely a goal of mine. Haskell, as ever, thank you for pimping the sharing. Share this video, like it, all those things that no one wants to say, but you have to on YouTube. It's like a rule. There's like this unwritten thing, like, subscribe, and blah. Like, it hurts me as a person to say. So thank you for everyone else doing that, because it breaks me a little bit. I've done a fantastic job of following King John. We as your friends, crying to the Prince of Sweaties. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Oscar Isaac as Mr. Miracle and Laura Prepon as Big Barda. Dude. Still got Jake Gyllenhaal as my Scott Free. But dude, maybe why I gave him the book? Who knows? Lemire's Moon Knight run was exceptional. I didn't know Coy did stunt work. I did. I worked on Star Trek Into Darkness, Dark Knight Rises. I did, what's that movie? They called it Green Hat when I worked on it. The party movie. Something. Anyway, I did like tons of stunts on that party movie, and it was amazing. That was a great few months of my life. How do I feel calling Eternals the first MCU property to have the first LGBT character when the shows have been doing it for years? I feel like Kevin Feige has always separated the movies and the TV stuff in a different perspective. I think he's just focused on his stuff. I don't think it was a jab at the TV. I don't think it was a jab at anything that's already been done before. I think he's got so much on a plate. I think he's laser focused, man. So I think this is how he sees. He also, one of the Russos briefly played a character in a very canon film. So I think it's just a laser focus. Thoughts on weighted blankets? I enjoyed them. They are very cozy. I have one. I'm a fan. Let's see. I I love the myriad of questions in here. Weighted blankets are very nice. They're like being hugged, and you go to sleep being hugged. All right. Hey, Koi, I kind of feel like there's no big overarching crossover in comics at the moment, so if you were to pitch a new event for either DC or Marvel Comics, what would it be? I feel like Absolute Carnage was the closest we've had in a while, and I really enjoyed it. Tweet me this question, and I want to answer it next time, because we're running out of time, but I love this question. Tweet me this so I have time to ponder it, because that, off the top of my head, is it's a lot, but it's a great question. Let's do Gerard Butler or Kim Coates would be a fantastic Harvey Bullock. I agree. That is good casting. When they adapt direct material and update it for narrative purposes, or more original like Joker or Nolan's Batman. I like both. I think both have their merits. I think I'd like to always be surprised. I would like them to keep adapting and also keep making original content. I think that, I don't know if that's an answer, and most of my answers are going to be like, I'm always excited, but I'm always excited. All right, let's grab a couple more. All right. This is so many. You guys have been killing it in the questions. In the future, we're going to be really close to getting the 4,000 hours so you guys can ask Super Chat so I can actually see them. In the future, this or Streamlabs, and I'll see them because I learned how to click over there. Because I honestly probably missed about half the questions because you guys have been asking so many, and it's incredible. I'm proud. Let's see. Let's get two more questions. One, Duncan Jones for Doctor Strange. Absolutely. Duncan Jones made Moon and Source Code and Warcraft, and I think he's an incredible director with an incredible vision. He knows what scope, like what matters to get scope translated. He cares about his characters. I love his world. Duncan Jones, yes, absolutely. All right, let's do one last question. Remember these questions for next time, because they've been great. I just haven't been able to get to them all. Let's see. Thoughts on pre-workout. Oh, Project X. That was the name of the movie. Yes, it was called Project X when it came out. Pre-workout is good in moderation, dangerous in abundance. It's got some scary ingredients if you get some of the bad stuff. I think it's helpful if you use it correctly, like anything with working out. It can be misused. It can be used correctly. Pre-workout is... with great power comes the great responsibility, and that's how we tie this whole thing in together with Curls, cinema, and comics, and Koi Cubed. With great pre-workout power comes great post-workout responsibility. Guys, thank you. I was sitting on my couch, I saw some news, I wanted to talk about it. I didn't think 200 of you would join this chat. It is fantastic to see you all and join this incredible thing we built. This koi pond thing has been absolutely incredible. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys. This thing is growing. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers in a week. So 5,000, that means the world to me. Do like, share, and subscribe so I can hit 5,000 subscribers. And I'm sorry for having to say that, but it means the world to me. You guys are all here. I hope this impromptu stream worked for you. This felt like an episode of a show that I don't do anymore, and that felt amazing. So thank you so much for giving me that gift of joining me for this chat. Please send me comments, send me these questions, tweet them at me. I love all this stuff, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys, and let's see if we can do this without a post-credit scene. As is tradition, let's try to end it. All right, thank you guys, and always... Nope, that's not a good wrap out. See, I wasn't going to let it leave. And as always, thank you, comic books, for existing. Thanks, guys.